God does tonight. God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma J. Spirit Divine. I'm going to give you some news on tonight. And first we're gonna start with Donald Trump. January 6th, a joint session of Congress was set to be in the United States Capitol. Oh, Mr. President Biden election voted had won. He had won. So thousands of Donald Trump supporters gathered near the White House, to hear him speak at noon. There was high on Capitol Hill protesting, outside of Capitol One. So at 12 noon, Trump began to speak to his supporters at a rally near the White House. So he called on his vice president Mike as the senator to reject Mr. Bennett win and send the voters back to the state. So all this pretty much started because he thought his voting was cheated. And that's what made this got out of control like this here. So in Washington D.C., a portion of the crowd at Trump's speech marched towards the Capitol shouting. The protesters watching from the sideline, cheering as the mob break through the final police barrier. So inside the building, both of the House and Senate proceed with the landmark. There was underwear, everything that was going on outside. Until they realized what was going on. So that was a lot that went on January 6th that we are still talking about it. So the former President Trump faces this return in office appears to be near indictment. So now he's facing indictment of the former president at federal state. Prosecutor bailed down on Trump, and the numbers are inquired. So the former President Donald Trump faces federal and state investigation in New York, Georgia, and Washington, D.C. So after a voting indictment, for years, former President Trump now appears closer than ever to facing criminal charges in Miami. So this happened in 2021, and we in 2022, and this case is just not going, it's just not trying to be settled. So he had two indictments. They're saying about the hush money. They're also talking about the second indictment is the document. They say they found in his home in Florida. So we don't know what's true or not because they're still investigating. So they're still investigating. The fight suggested that the prosecutors are working to assemble evidence, that Trump could have committed a crime or defying the government effort to reclaim the classified material, that he took with him after leaving the White House. So saying after he left the White House, they're saying he took the document because they found it at his home in Florida. So this whole thing started January 6th due to he thought he was being cheated out of his vote. So the special counsel is also overseeing the investigation into Trump's effort to reverse his defeat at the poll of 2020. And his role in the event that led to storming of Capitol by his supporter on January 6th. He was just outraged, because of the votes, and he thought they cheated him out of his votes. And they had recounted everything, and it still came out the same. So in the case will be marked the first indictment of the former American president. Here is where the inquiry involving the former president stand. So this gonna be the first time, if it go through, it's gonna be the first time that ever happened to a president. You know, so January 6th, he thought he was being cheated out of his votes. That's how all this pretty much started. So he have two indictments on him. Facing criminal charges with the Hirsch money, and then the second one on the classified, document. That's no documents they found in his home. So his role in the event of January 6th, all this had led to a storming of the Capitol by his supporters. They are still investigating all these matters. So I understand that they are still investigating this matter. You know, and he probably, have two indictments on him. Due to January 6th event. All this was with the election, with the voting. So everything is still being investigated. Until then, I'm placing a hold on him, former president, from running for president again in 2024. But until all this investigation is done with, but since they're investigating, criminal charges and everything, he's still innocent until proven guilty. Until then, I put a hold on running for president for 2024. So, we're also gonna talk about what happened today. Um, American soldiers under fire. So this is close to home. Two more attacks on facility United troops. Report on a rocket attack in a strong strike of facility housing United States troops. In Sahrawan that occurred after the United States conduct an airstrike in Sahrawan against what it said was Iran. Facility after a suspect, drawn on strike. Different facility housing United States personnel in the country killing American in a country killing American contract. Wounded 5 United States service members. So one United States service member was injured but in stable condition. Which is good. Just a short time after, suicide drone attack, another facility, not too far, away near Green Village. Also the housing United States troopers, 2 of those 3 drones were shot down. Now the other did not enter the United States. But the true basic, at that facility all do damage in infrastructure. American soldier is under fire. United States forces target again in surrounding after deadly drone strike. So I give my condolences to all the family who lost American soldier under fire. I'm very concerned about this matter because it is close to home. So I don't have too much to say about this. I'm just gonna keep praying that this will come to an end, that no one else get hurt. So that's all the news I have for you today. We talk about Trump. He got 2 indictments. And this all started with January 6th when he thought he was cheated out of his votes. And I put a hold, on running for president for 2024. They're still investigating. He being, called for all kind of charges. So in the meantime, it's a hold on running for president until all this stuff is sorted out. So we just talk about the soldiers close to home. United States American soldiers. Some of them had got killed, some of them got wounded. So we just gonna keep on praying for this situation here, to finally come to an end. You know, that's all I have for you on today. But I do have a word for you. I do have a word for you. When your stone becomes so overwhelmed, what will you do? You know, it's a lot of us handle our stones different. You know, a lot of us handle our stones different. You know, so one, when you're so overwhelmed, you know, in your stone, and your back is against the wall, what will you do? Because, see, a lot of people have their opinions on what they want to say about how you should handle this and handle that. But when you in your own stone and all these things come at you, what will you do? You know, so when you are so overwhelmed in your stone and your back is against the wall, your back is against the wall, you don't have nobody to talk to. But what would you do? Okay, this what I did. This what I do. I pray to God. You know, you don't have nobody else to talk to. You got God to talk to. You know, you could talk to God 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, anytime you need to talk to Him. You know, 2, I read my Bible. Reads my Bible. You know, and what calms me down. You know, no matter what I'm going through, I could be shedding tears or whatever. Once you open that Bible up and you start reading, you know, you're going to feel the peace and you're going to forget about what you was fussing about. You know, so 3, I get peace when I'm putting my material together. Since that's still dealing with the Bible. You know, no matter what's going on, you know, what's the devil is doing. What's going on? It doesn't matter, because once I sit behind this desk and I open this Bible up and I'm just putting my material together, you know, I'm in my whole nother world. You know, so you got to find something that's going to comfort you when you're in your stone and when it's just so out of control and you're so overwhelmed. Because I'm telling you, when you're in that Bible and you close to God and you constantly praying, when you walking with God, trust me, you're going to deal with the devil. You know, so that's why I said, you know, I'm going to put this out today. Because I know a lot of people wondering how I'm making it through. You know, so 2, what will you do when the devil come at you full blast, trying to destroy you? Because you know when you that close to your breakthrough, all hell gonna break loose. You know, the devil gonna try everything to try to destroy you. You know, to frustrate you. You know, to make you get out the race. You know, you can tell when it's breakthrough, nothing ain't gonna go right. Everything is falling apart. You know, this and that happen. You know, so you got all these issues going on. You know, you got everything coming against you, left and right. What will you do in that stone? You know, and this is the first thing I want to tell you. When you're in your stone, when you got all these difficulties keep coming at you, don't be quick to pick up the phone and call no one. I've been stopped doing that. You talk to God, you pray to God. That's the only person that can help you. You know, I learned about picking up the phone and calling every time something going on. You got to know what to do when you're in your own stone. You know, I be by myself. You know, me and my Bible, me and God. You know, and I try to deal with everything the best way I can. But you'll have so many people try to tell you how to do this and how to do that. But when you in your own stone, what will you do? You know, what will you do when the devil coming at you full blast? That's when you know it's breakthrough. You know, okay, so 1, the main key is pray. That's gonna be on pretty much all my questions. Pray is your main key. Pray and connect with God. You know, 2, stand on your ground. Stand on your ground. When you know your truth, you stand on your ground. You know, don't let nobody stray you away from God. or what you're doing. That's why a lot of time when you first find out you're chosen, you're going to be isolated because God wants you by yourself. He wants you to focus on what you have to do. Focus on Him, because focus on Him is the only way to your destination. And you don't need all those distractions. That's why a lot of time, you're going to lose everything. Sometimes you might lose yourself in this storm. But how will you get through it? When you lose yourself in your storm, because when you're in the storm, you walking that walk with God, you're going to lose everything. But it's going to be all for the good, because you're going to gain new stuff. So the main key is praying. Praying. They're going to be on all my questions. Praying. That's the main key. Stand your ground. With your head up high. No matter what come against me. No matter what lie will ever come against me. Because the devil going to try everything to destroy you. To try to tear you down. What will you do? You stand your ground. You keep your head up. And you keep on walking forward. Keep walking that walk with God. Keeping your faith. Don't let nobody tear you down. Long as you stay in that Bible, long as you keep on praying and you keep on being connected with God, don't let the devil tear you down. Because the devil will tear you down to pieces if you let it. So you walk by faith. You walk by faith. And sometimes your faith may wave, but don't stay in that waving stage. You got to kind of flip that and turn that around. Don't never stay in a waving faith, because sometimes your faith may wave, especially if you're in a long storm. But don't never let it stay waving. You got to stay. You got to keep a strong faith. Don't never stay in that waving faith. You got to put it back on track, because a lot of times they be like, she did it. She just was, but you got to know how to flip it. When you realize your faith is waving, you got to know how to swish it. I done learned a whole lot in my storm. I done grown a whole lot in my storm. When I started out in my storm, I didn't have no knowledge or spiritual or anything. I was just running off at the mouth. I had no kind of knowledge. But now I done grown knowledge in everything that I'm supposed to take in this storm. I'm a strong woman. And these parents that I went through will help a lot of people. You got to have a strong faith. You can't give up. You got to hold on. Sometimes you might have doubt. But don't keep that doubt in your head. You have to stay connected with God. You can't let go. You remember when Jacob said, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. You got to not let go. No matter how mad you get, I don't never let the words come out of my mouth. I'm done with this. I don't want to do this no more. I don't never say that. You got to watch the words that come out of your mouth. Because remember the Israelites, they said, well, you should have left me in there. You should have left us in the wilderness to die. And that's what God did. That second generation, third generation, He left him. He left him in that wilderness and killed him, just like He said. He said, I heard everything that y'all say. So you got to be careful in your madness. Don't never say that you wanted to die. Jonah said the same thing. He didn't want to go preach to save the people. He said, just let me die right here. And that's what God did. Because you got to watch the words that you say. No matter how mad you get in your storm, you watch the words that you say. Don't never put debt on your life, because it might happen. I don't never put debt in my life. Even though if somebody put debt on your life, you got to speak positive over your life. You got to speak positive. I want to live to pursue my purpose. You got to talk like that. Because you got so many people might put debt on your life, might put negative on your life, but you got to speak positive on your life. I'm going through so much, and I'm learning a whole lot in my storm, and doing it all by myself, with the grace of God. God is a good encouragement. He is a good helper. He will encourage you, cause when He not done with you, You know, he's not going to let you go either. You know, Elijah was like that. And God was like, well, what you here for? You know, I still got work for you to do. You know, so you're gonna walk by faith. You know, I believe that my stone will turn around. You know, I used to. That's what I'm saying. When I first got in this stone, I didn't have no knowledge. I used to just talk all out of my head and stuff. You know, and so now you gotta talk like, okay, this stone. You know, I believe in my heart that this storm will turn around. I believe in my heart that I will win. I believe in my heart I'm gonna make it to the finish line. That's how you got to talk. I ain't used to be like that first. But you got to speak positive over your life. You know, don't never speak death over your life because sometime it might happen. You know, so three, what will you do when everything is falling apart? Everything falling apart, not going right. You know, you get a mail, you get a letter in the mailbox, this here do, that do, you know, this happen, all kind of stuff happen around you, you know, and you just in this storm. You know, you know, a lot of time I don't even know if I'm going left or right, you know, but I'm always putting myself together. You know, you might get laughed at, you might get mocked, you might even have people call you crazy. Cause nobody don't know. Nobody not in your shoe to know what you're going through. You know, I pat my own self on the shoulder. You know, all the stuff I go through and still stand and still in a good state of mind. You know, and that's another thing. In your storm, it's all about your mind. Because that's what the devil wants. The devil wants to steal your mind. Don't let the devil steal your mind. I had to keep on keeping myself focused. And this Bible is, and God is the only one can keep your mind focused. You got to feed your mind with God's word. You know, I had to put this material together. So I mean, I'm in my Bible every day because you got to read the story to put it together. And then I fast. You know, you got to stay in that Bible. You got to stay on that word. And you got to stay with God. Because God knows your beginning to your end. You know, your life and your future is in God's hands. You know, all the stuff that I go through. When I wake up in the morning, that's the first thing I say, well, thank you, God. Thank you, God. You allowed me to see another day. Thank you, God. You put bread in me to breathe, to start a new day. You know, it's a whole lot you go through, and nobody cannot stand in your shoes and tell you how you feel. You know, and when people, you know, when I first started in this stuff, you know, people called me all kind of, and I used to be going back to the fall, and texting back, you know, until I learned. You know, God had converted my heart. You know, and a change in a whole lot of ways. You know, cause God gonna get you what He wants you to be. You know, in my case, it's taken long because I started out with no knowledge of what I was going and where I was heading. So now I know what it takes. I know who I am. You know, see, a lot of time, you know, you got to know who you are when you're in your storm. Once you know who you are, you know, you able to walk that step. You know, you're able to walk that step. So I'm walking that step, you know, it's still taking long because I got the devil still riding my back. You know, and that's another thing, you know. You see, even the devil try to tempt Jesus, you know, and you know he perfect. You know, try to tempt Jesus, you know, gonna tell Jesus, just look at all this stuff. You know, I could give this to you. And you just bow down to me. And Jesus know all this stuff is from my heavenly Father. You don't own nothing, devil. Jesus said, you get behind me. And that's why I plead the blood of Jesus over the devil every day. Because the devil don't own anything. You know, God created this world. God own everything in this world. God own us. You know, so we can never call ourselves bowing down to the devil. You can tell the devil to get behind you. You know, so what will you do when everything fall apart? Everything coming against you. You know, and you don't know if you're going left or right. You know, what will you do? One, the main key. Pray to God. Be connected to God. You know, two, you got to hold on. You got to hold on to God. You got to hold on to life. You know, people gonna call your name. Oh, she's so stupid. She just holding on. You know, she not gonna be nothing. She just holding on. And guess what? When people call your name, you keep on holding on. You got to keep your faith. No matter if you laughed at, keep your faith, and you keep on holding on. You know, so and the next key, never give up. You know, you may call all kind of names, stupid and everything else. You know, but you hold on, never give up. You know, two, have a strong faith. See, strong faith and prayer gonna be all through this package here, because that's the two main key. You know, the three main key is never give up, pray, and trust God. You know, our faith is in God. You know, the love and strength of God that keep me going. You know, because we have to get to the point that you got to love God when you're in that storm. You know, you got to love God, the love of God, you know, that keep me going, that keep me standing. You know, I couldn't got this far, you know, without God. You know, you got to love God. You gotta get to a place that God is the only thing that you need. You know, I feel like God is my family. I feel like that's all I have right now. You know, you got to get to that place where that God is all you need. God is all you have, and that's all you need. You know, because you're going to be in that dark place, you know, and nobody else cannot help you or save you but God. You know, and you got to love God to have that kind of strength that's going to keep you going. You know, got to keep you going. You know, so you got to love a strength of God to keep you going. You know, so for if your faith wave, I told you that earlier, if your faith wave, you know, in doubt, you know, put your faith back on track. You know, and don't stay in doubt. Because you ain't going to get nowhere with doubt. Doubt not ain't supposed to be in equation, you know. But your faith will wave sometimes, especially if you're in a long storm, you know. But doubt not supposed to be in there. You know, that's why I'm not catch myself like that. I hurry up and switch it. You know, you got to visualize your dream, visualize your future. You know, you got to, you know, not doubt. I used to have all these, I ain't never was used to just thinking positive all the time. You know, I always was had all kind of thoughts in my mind all day long for years. You know, so now I got the practice on being positive, thinking positive all the time. You know, when you ain't used to thinking that way, you know, it's hard. You know, so I'm in a healing process, and I'm also in the process of keep on trying to be positive. You know, so you know, just a lot of stuff I've been learning. You know, and I feel like I just wanted to pass it on to y'all, whoever in a dark storm, a long storm, a overwhelming, you know, everything. You know, um, so doubt not supposed to be in your mind, but your faith will wave. You can never stay in that way with faith. You have to put it back on track. You know, so five, visualize your dream and future and keep it alive. You know, so a lot of time, you know, I catch myself one or two. I say, wait a minute, you know, let me visualize my dream, my future. Let me visualize, because you got to keep it alive, because that's what's gonna keep you going. When you visualize what's gonna be at the end of your storm, you know, they're gonna keep you fighting. They're gonna keep you holding on. You know, so you got to keep your dream, you got to keep your future, you got to keep all that alive. When you realize you ain't visualize your dream, your future, get on it. You know, because what you visualize and what's going to be at the end of your storm, they're going to keep you fighting, because you're going to want that at the end of your storm. You know, and another thing, if God made a promise to you, God made a promise to me. You know, hold on to His word. No matter what I go through, I don't never have it in my mind that I want to quit or throw in the towel. But when you get so tired and you're so overwhelmed, I remember the words that he told me. You have to remember the words that he told you, and that will keep you holding on and not give up. Because he said it, that means gonna come to pass. Because he is a God that don't break promise. So even though it's a long time, you know, he said it. When God said it, it's gonna happen. And I stick to the words. So for we're gonna look at Elijah. We're gonna look at Elijah. Um a man of God. A man of God. A lot of time I got so tired and frustrated. Because when you're doing the will of God, I'm not tired and frustrated of what I do. The devil just constantly keep beating you down. When you're doing the work of God and you walking that walk with God, you're gonna have the devil on your back. And the devil gonna keep beating you down, keep on trying to make you frustrated. You're gonna want to try to have you getting out the race. He want to frustrate you enough to get out the race, and I ain't never got out the race. So you constantly gonna have the devil on your back. Elijah was the man of God. He walked with God. Elijah dealt with that drought. Always help people with that drought. Yeah, they can have a little one egg and two bread or whatever, and he'll make the whole meal out of it to save that family. So let me see. So you're gonna come from First King, chapter 19, 9-16. This is about Elijah. Elijah, he preached that word, but he pretty much don't preach it. He like Jesus. Jesus, when he preached, he interpreted stories. Interpreted stories. Tell stories about certain things to get his point across. And so Elijah was the same way. Elijah didn't did too much preaching. He'll do a lot of examples. So just like he said, let me see if your God can do this here. That was the last thing he did before he ran. He said my God can put this fire out. Without the stuff that you use for the drill and all that with the grill. He said without that. So they kept on, and there was the Israelite. He was a king over the Israelite, and they started serving other kind of gods and stuff. And he was telling them that's wrong. And see, the Israelite already know that. Y'all know we in a story right now with the Israelite, with the commandment. They already know they're not supposed to serve other God. So Elijah trying to show them example of what you worshiping. What you worshiping cannot do nothing for you. The God that I serve, that I worship, I don't have to put all that under there. He's gonna burn that. He gonna burn that fire. Can your God do that? So Elijah used to show examples. To let them know who you bowing down to cannot do anything for you. And so they got mad. They reject Elijah. Then you got Ahab came and had found out that he embarrassed. What he said, he embarrassed the Israelite. So he felt like he killed all the prophets, and Elijah was the only one still alive. So then he had said the word that he wanted to kill Elijah too. And so Elijah broke out and ran. Elijah said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna take my life because I'm constantly keep being down. So I'm in Elijah's shoes, also, but I'm not gonna take my life. I'm not gonna quit. I'm not gonna get out the race. Elijah had enough, and he ran to a cage, and he cried out to God. He cried out to God, and when God came to him, God said, "What you doing here?" He said, your people, the Israelites, they reject me. And then the other kings, they want to kill me. They already killed all the rest of your prophets. And they want to kill me too, because I'm telling the Israelite it's wrong what they're doing. They broke your covenant. They're bowing down to other gods. So God say, I have more work for you to do. Now Elijah pouring his heart out, talking about they want to kill him. And God say, what you doing here? I still have work for you to do. I have another project for you to do. I need you to go over here and do the job. And then the king, they live right next to the woman that God want to send him to. Because guess what? When God not ready for you yet, no matter who trying to take you out, when God not ready for you yet, God gonna send you back to the job. You're not killing yourself. You're not going nowhere. I still got work for you to do. And he encouraged Elijah. He told Elijah to go back. And he also appointed 4 kings. He told Elijah, you're gonna know these 4 people right here. These 4 people gonna guarantee that nobody ain't gonna touch you. See, God gonna send you help. You cry out to God, he gonna send you help. He said, you're gonna know these 4 people right here. These 4 people here gonna make sure nobody don't touch you. So I got a job for you. I need you to go over here. And now right next to the king, they already killed all the rest of his prophets. But guess what? Elijah already know he had God right there by his side. If God said go out there and do it, if God said do it, God gonna protect. He gonna protect you. And and God already appointed 4 kings to protect him. So that's the story of Elijah. He got so overwhelmed. He got so frustrated. So he wanted to kill himself. He felt like he doing the work for God all the time. We gonna always get beat down when you doing the work for God. We gonna get beat down. But it's how, is you gonna run? You gonna run and kill yourself, or you gonna stand on your ground and keep your faith and trust God? Because what he should have did is call out to God before he ran to the cage to try to do. Good thing he called out to God. When he went in the cage, instead of killing himself, because God encouraged him to go back. God not ready for him. God had plenty of work for him to do. And when God was ready for him, then God shoot him up. Shoot him up to heaven. But in the meantime, God not ready for you. God got more work for you to do. No matter who after you, you gonna live. Jonah, Jonah did see Elijah, he wants to do the work for God. Jonah did not want to do the work for God. He pouched and mumbled and everything else. So when he said, I'd rather just die right here, because you done saved these people, and that's what God did. Because when you don't want to do the work for God and you speak the words out of your mouth, it will come to pass. Elijah worked for God. He liked working for God. He wanted to kill himself because they reject him, and then the other king wanted to kill him. But Jonah didn't want to work for God. He didn't want to go and preach. Remember, he got hooked up in the fish mouth. Because he tried to run. You cannot run. If you don't want to work for God and you speak the negative words out of your mouth, it will come to pass. So they reject Elijah, and the king Ahab, he killed all the rest of the prophets, and he wanted to kill Elijah. The only one was left, but God said, I'm not ready for you yet. You still got work to do. So that's the story on Elijah. He just got so much. Every time he look around, he was getting beat down. But he was wanting to give up. I get beat down all the time. I'm still going to do the work for God. I'm going to still stand my ground. And keep on trying to press my way through. And keeping my faith. People think I don't have faith and don't have courage with God. If I don't have no faith, I would have thrown in the towel a long time ago. In my heart, I believe the words that came out of God's mouth. Because God said it, it's going to come to pass. I have faith. Sometimes it might weigh, but I put it back on track. I have faith. I trust in God. And because I'm always behind this desk every day, putting that work out. Because when you don't have faith and you don't trust God, you're going to throw in the towel. Elijah just didn't have faith no more. He just wanted to give it up. So God said, go back. And God said, go back the way you came. God said, go back the way you came. Go and anoint these 4 keys. And I bet you in the morning, ain't nobody gonna come near you without these 4 kings gonna beat them down. And see, God sent him help. God encouraged him to go back. So God didn't want Elijah to kill himself. That God still had work for him to do. So when you get tired, and you want to quit, and when God said no, you know, I'm not done with you yet, you're going to live. And you're going to work. And you're going to work a long and prosperous life. Because you got Abraham, you got Joseph, Jacob, all of them live over 100 years old. Because they wanted to work for God. All the way until they got old. And so, he would tell to go back, and I still have work for you to do. So God know our beginning to our end. And when God got a plan for you, he expects for you to complete that plan. Most of all his prophets complete their plan, but except Saul. He took the spirit from Saul and gave it to David. And David, David was another. When he was a boy, God anointed him to be king over Israel. But it never happened until years and years later. But guess what? David had his faith. David believed the words that came out of his mouth because God made a promise to him also. And he kept on holding on. He was running to the cave. And see, a lot of time, they'll think you're scared, but David wasn't scared. David knew. I can tear Saul off with my hands. Remember, he took that, hit that lion, that giant down, and then took his head off. He was a boy working in that field and tearing them animals apart. What you think he could have did to Saul? But he was walking that walk with God. When you walk that walk with God, you're going to be home. I done changed a whole lot, since I've been in this store. You ain't going to cut up and do all that stuff like you used to. So David was saving Saul. He was running, so he won't hurt Saul. Because David could have tore Saul up into pieces. He could have killed Saul a long time ago. But he was a humble person. Still walking that walk with God. He was still believing in God, trusting in God, believing in God anointed me as a child. And he said, I'm going to be a king. I'm going to keep on holding on, believing that I'm going to be over Israel. And that's what I do. And that's what you got to do. You got to keep believing in your heart, that you're going to do what God said he's going to do. You can't let go. Be laughed at. Be mocked at. Just keep on standing. Keep on standing your ground and keep on holding on. And keep putting that hard work out. So when you in your storm, and then you mad, and you frustrated. When you in that long storm, especially when you're in that long storm, you in that long storm, and you mad and you're frustrated, and you're tired, you're broken. What will you do? I'm gonna tell you what I did or what I'm still doing. Never let God go. Like Jacob said. Jacob was holding on so tight till God had to hit him on his socket, on the side of his socket for him to let go. He said, "Let me go." It was getting daybreak. Jacob was still holding on to God. He was holding on so tight. God said, "Let me go." He said, "I'm not gonna let you go until you bless me." So God had to say, "This man here wrestling me." He said, "What's your name?" He said, "My name's Jacob, but what's your name?" No, I am not gonna answer you back. I asked the question. And that's dead on. God changed his name to Israel. So we got to hold on to God. If God made a promise to you, keep on holding on. Keep on holding on. I'm being beat down, talk about, mock, laugh. When I go out that door, I still walk out that door with my head up high. You got to stand on your ground. You got to be strong in that faith, and you got to keep on holding on, and you have to stay connected with God. You got to stay connected with God. We have to trust God. And sometimes it can be hard when you're in that long storm. But He the only one, that our life and our future, it lies in His hand. So you don't have no choice but to trust Him. Trust Him and believe Him. So even in my confusion, even when you don't understand, you got to still trust God. You have to still trust God, even when it's hard. Because sometimes how your situation look, it looks, sometimes it'll look impossible, but we got a God that's impossible. We got a God, Almighty God. He mighty and walk. I'm doing that Bible study. He mighty and walk. So even in our confusion, I never let go. A lot of time, like right now, so I don't understand. Sometimes it don't make sense. But I'm still pressing my way through, even in confusion and don't understand. You still got to press your way through, because at some point in time, God will give you clarity. At some point in time, He will give you clarity. Whatever you understand and you confused about. So I kept holding on, and I keep putting in the hard work, pressing my way through. So in my storm, what I'm in now, no matter how it look like the impossible. You got to keep on holding on. Never give up. Keep on holding on. And you got to have a strong faith. You got to have strong faith no matter how the picture look. You got to keep holding on. I never give up. Don't never let them words come out of your mouth that you want to give up. I don't never let them words come out of my mouth. No matter how mad you get. And then when you mad, don't never tell God that you don't want to do this no more. That I don't care how tired I am, how frustrated I am. I could be in my madness. I ain't gonna never say I'm done putting this word out, because I love what I do. Because you got to watch the words that come out of your mouth. I never give up. I hold on. I have a strong faith in this storm. Strong faith, and you got to have a strong faith in God. So I fight, and I stay in the race, and I press my way through. I stay focusing in this word, in this Bible. Every day you got to feed your mind with that word. Feed your mind with that word every day. And you have to love God with all your heart. And you have to trust Him. And sometimes it can be hard, because you'll be looking and you'll be going through so much. You might feel like you're being forsaken. You might feel like you're being abandoned. You might feel like you're alone. But God is right there. You remember Job? Job was going through so much pain and suffering. He wondering where God was at too. And God will let the devil do so much. And then God will say, that's enough. That's enough. I'm like Job. A lot of times, I barely be making it. Sometimes I don't be having enough strength. And that's how Job was. The devil had beat him down so much. And when the devil get mad, when you still standing, and you still fighting, and you still got that strength to keep on doing what you're doing, the devil got mad with Job, because Job was still standing. So he had to put a socket on him. He damaged him up a little bit when his wife had the doctor on him and put some patches on his side, and he still was standing. See, when you keep on standing, because see, the devil want to see you crying. He want to see you upset. He don't want to see you smiling. He don't want to see you singing or doing none of that. He wants to see you crying and miserable. The devil want to see you miserable. And the devil saw that Job was still praying to God. Job was still holding on. Holding on to God's promise. Even though you can't feel God, you can feel God, but sometimes you can't. It feel like He's not there. It feel like where He at. For me, Job the same way. We know He's right there. He knows it's right there. And then his friends come, and it made no better. That's why I say you can't call nobody, especially when you're in your storm, because people don't know the right words to say when you're in your storm. They're gonna say ridiculous stuff, that make you more mad and frustrated. So you gotta watch your company that's around you when in your storm, because some people are not gonna encourage you. That's why a lot of times you don't tell nobody to pray for you. You learn how to pray for yourself. And praying don't have to be perfect. They say, I don't know how to pray. But it's all about communication with God. As long as you know that simple prayer, you know, then you do your connection with God after that. I know everybody knows the simple prayer that Jesus had wrote out for his disciples. As long as you know that, you do your speaking and your connection with God. So pray about everything. I talk to God all the time. You know, that's my comforter, my friend, my encouragement. God is a good encouragement. He will encourage you. When he still got work for you to do, and you feel like you're tired, that you just want to throw in the towel, if he's not done with you and he feel like you worthy to keep on hanging on, he's not going to let you go. And when God don't let you go, you don't let him go. So even when you don't understand, don't never give up. Trust God. Trust God. Because in your storm, you're not going to understand. And guess what? Don't try to figure it out. I was trying to figure out how God gonna do this, how he gonna do that. He said, you don't try to figure me out. You just walk that walk each day when I tell you what you got to do. So God don't want us to figure it out. He just want us to walk that walk with him. Because God said we cannot figure him out. He the master. He have God. Sometimes God have the end of your plan, before you have the beginning of your plan. So God already know how everything gonna play it out. So we can't really figure out, how God gonna do this here. Well, I'm going to this place next. Is this door gonna be over? What? We can't figure it out. We got to stop trying to figure it out. Because God, I got everything mapped out already. We just got to walk into it. So I never give up. I trust God. I believe God. I have faith. I have a strong faith that I'm still holding on. So I believe that your stone will turn around. So when you're in your stone, you got to believe that this stone gonna turn around. And what you visualize, you got to believe that you're gonna get at the end of that tunnel to prosper that dream that you keep on dreaming about. Because you got to dream something that's gonna give you that strength to keep holding on. What you gonna reach for, what you reaching for, that's at the end of the road. So that's how I've been getting through. That's how I've been getting through. Reading. And see, when I'm putting my stuff together and behind this Bible, I'm in a whole nother world. I have peace. When I'm still thinking about God, and when the negative stuff try to pop up, I try to pop it back out and switch it and visualize something positive. When you know it's at the end of the road for you, and the devil keep on popping up there, all that negative stuff, you got to rebuke that. I rebuke that stuff and block that out somewhere, and bring it in my future, in my mind. That's what you got to do. So that's the story. We're gonna still do the Bible study tomorrow. I just had that in my heart because I'm in this storm, and I wonder if anybody. I know a couple of people. I said, how you do it? How you do it? And that's another thing. Don't look like you come out of storm. Still keep up with your appearance, because if I don't tell nobody what I went through, they'll look at me and say, you ain't been through nothing. Going through hell. But you don't have to look like hell. You got to keep up with everything. Just got to keep on praying. keep on praying. That's the main key. And stay connected with God. You gotta stay connected with God. You gotta hold on to him so tight. Like Jacob did. Hold on so tight. My mouth got me in trouble. You know. So I'm learning. I'm in a process of learning a whole lot of stuff. A whole lot of stuff. Keeping your mouth shut. Humbling yourself. Trusting God. Not having negative. It's a whole lot of stuff I'm trying to get. You know. But you make the devil mad when you doing all the right things, and you standing on your ground, and you still being connected with God. You still putting that work out. The devil don't like that. Because the devil gonna lose all the time. You never, every day. Every day you defeat the devil. When you still stand and you still walking that walk to your purpose, you defeating the devil every day. You got to have your mind focused on what's at the end of that tunnel. And keep on pressing your way through. I be tired, bent over, broken, sad, 1 minute and happening another, because nobody don't know exactly what you're going through. Nobody don't know what's in staying in your shoes. They don't know exactly what you're going through. I'm going through so much. But I still be standing. Because I know God is right there, protecting me and guiding me in the direction I should go. So that's all the word I have for you today. When your storm become to be so overwhelmed, what would you do? What would you do? So that's all I have for you tonight. And y'all have a blessed and safe day. And I see y'all in the next video.